The secret to creating a realistic exterior render in Lumion is cloudy weather. Direct sunlight in Lumion doesn't look very realistic. Here I'm showing you one of Lumion's well-known renders. As you can see, the lighting with cloudy condition looks much more realistic than the lighting with direct sunlight. So let's dive in and I will show you the exact setting to achieve this result.
Alright, this is our project in Lumion, and without wasting any time, let's go straight into the effects panel. First, I'm going to adjust the frame and lock the camera so I can work on this specific composition. The first effect we are going to add is ray tracing. Here I'm going to increase the bounces all the way up. Bounces basically control how many times the light can bounce off surfaces. Increasing the number of bounces gives us a brighter and more naturally illuminated scene. And because our weather is currently cloudy, I need a brighter scene so that the detail of the project are more visible. For now, I'm also going to set the number of samples to 32. This will reduce the rendering time so we can get faster test renders while we are working on the scene. After that, let's go back to the effects panel and add 2-point perspective. This allows us to keep the camera parallel to the building. If I turn this off, you can see that the camera is no longer perfectly aligned with the building. The next effect I'm going to use is real sky. One of the things that can make your render look much more realistic with real sky is choosing an overcast sky. And this is exactly the point I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Direct sunlight in Lumion and in many other rendering software doesn't always give us the most realistic looking image. So I'm going to go into the HDRI section in Lumion. Go to overcast and select the first one. Now we have a cloudy atmosphere. You can use the heading option to change the direction of the sky. I'm going to lower the sky brightness a little bit so that we can see more detail in the sky and the clouds. I'll also reduce the background brightness slightly to get a better looking sky. I'm going to leave the sun intensity as it is. Alright, that's it for the sky settings. Let's go back to the effect panel. The next effect we are going to add is color correction. I'm going to make a quick test render first so I can fine-tune the color correction settings. For now, I'm not going to change the temperature or tint. I'm going to increase the exposure to brighten up the scene. Then I'll increase the contrast. As you can see, increasing the contrast gives us a stronger and more defined shadows, which is why I'm going to increase it here. I'm going to reduce the highlights because I want the sky to look clear and more detailed. As you can see, the highlights have a big impact and appearance of the sky. I'm also going to increase the midtones slightly to make the overall image a little brighter. Then I will reduce the shadows a little bit to get stronger shadows. I'm not going to change the gamma, saturation or vibrance for now. With the temperature setting, you can make the overall atmosphere warmer or cooler. But I'm going to leave it as it is because I like the mood and atmosphere we are getting from the current settings. Alright, let's go back to the effect panel. Now I want to add another effect that can make our render look much more realistic, and that's the rain effect. Adding rain to the scene can make the image look much more realistic. But now I don't actually want the rain particles to be visible in the image. Instead, I want to see the effect of the rain on the pavement and the swimming pool. That's why I'm going to reduce the particle quantity all the way down. I'm also going to reduce the precipitation phase slightly so that it looks like the rain has just stopped. This way, some areas of the pavement look wet, while other areas are still dry. I'm also going to increase the extra fog slightly because I want more atmospheric fog in the scene. This can help make the overall image feel more realistic. Alright, we are done with the effects. But as you can see, some areas of the project are still quite dark, and we are losing some of the details. So now we need to turn on some of the artificial lights in the project to make those areas more visible. I'm going back to the scene and I'm going to turn on the lights that I have in the project. Now if we go back to our render, you can see that those darker areas are much brighter. And now we have a much more realistic looking render. But try not to overuse artificial lighting. You don't need to turn on every single light in the building. Using fewer lights can actually give you much more cinematic and realistic result. There are also a few additional things you should keep in mind that can help make your render more realistic, besides using the right effects. When you are using a pavement material, try to use a material with a high quality displacement map and enough displacement details. This will also make the rain effect look much more convincing on the surface. Here I'm using materials from EasyViz fullpack, which have very high quality. They are all PBR materials and created with high quality maps. You can get the complete EasyViz fullpack at a special price. I will leave the website link in the description.
One purchase, lifetime access, all current and future Lumion content.
The next thing that's really important is using decals, especially around edges and corners. Let's go into the effects here and then open decals section. There is one important thing you need to keep in mind when using these decals. When you select one of them, you can increase its size, but you shouldn't just place it in the scene with the default settings. Instead, reduce the transparency a little bit and also reduce the blend color. This way we can create subtle stains around the edge because surface has become dirty and weathered over time. And this helps make the render look much more natural. If you look closely, I've used the decals in several areas of the project. This idea is to make it look as if these stains have gradually appeared over time, especially after being exposed to rain. The next important detail in the render is the swimming pool. When creating pool water, I recommend using settings similar to the one I'm using here. Try to keep the first 4 sliders somewhere between 10 and 30%. For example, let's look at wave height. Since this is a swimming pool and we don't have strong waves here, we want to create very small waves. That's why I'm keeping this value low. The same applies to roughness. Keep it low as well. For wave scale, I've actually set it to 0 so that the waves are as small as possible. But one of the most important settings here is reflectivity. Reflectivity controls how strongly the building and surrounding environment are reflected in the pool. The higher the reflectivity, the more realistic and visually water can look. We also don't need a lot of foam. If you look at the corners of the pool, you can see where the foam is being created. We don't really need that much foam here, so I'm going to reduce it. And that's it. We are done with the render. Now you can see the final result.